So my TV is broken. Look at that. The picture's just jumping up and down, and it looks like crap. Yeah, the reason there's a half a picture here is because these video cameras now automatically select their shutter speed based on how much light there is, and this being a CRT set, it's actually catching the scan mid-scan. Anyway, this is my little 1991 Panasonic. It's a CRT set, standard definition, and this is my patio TV. I'm not about to put a nice flat panel TV outside where I leave it outside day and night, 365 days a year, out in the moisture, just begging for someone to come and take it. So I got this old piece of junk that I've been, watching hockey games and stuff on when I'm sitting out in my backyard enjoying the nice weather, sitting by my fire log, my gas fire log. Gives me something to watch. Yeah, I know it's standard definition, but that's okay because I have my own in-house system here. That's actually a DVD that's playing. I can get the local channels, so I have converters and I can pull the local channels off, and I have each of the local channels placed on a separate channel. I can also look at my my PVR and my security cameras, and even my kid's got his lizard. He's got a gecko, and he has a camera on it so that he can watch it in his room because the thing only comes out at night. So anyway, this little TV, the picture's really washed out, and that's part of the symptom. Because I think there's a problem probably in the video circuit, and the video signal is weak, and we're having some sync decoding issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing apart and see if we can find out what's wrong with it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think it's probably a coupling capacitor somewhere in the video circuit, but let's pull this thing apart and see if we can find the problem on this old TV. This old thing's got quite a history. This is the first free TV that I ever got, and it came to me by way of where I worked. It was sold brand new to a little old lady who only had it for about a week, and she watered a plant sitting on it and got water into the set. So set comes into the shop, and it was repaired, and we said, sorry ma'am, but this is not a warranty repair because it was caused by water getting into it, so we have to charge you to repair it. And oh, by the way, there is no warranty on it because water's gotten into it. And she says, I don't want it, throw it out. So that was 1991. It's now 2014, and this TV has performed flawlessly since the day I cleaned the water out of it. To the person that threw it out, your loss, my gain. This is the first time it's broken down. We're going to do something about that tonight. So as I remove the screws from the set, I don't know what I'm going to find inside here. Could be spiders. Oh, for all I know, there could be a hornet's nest in here. But we'll figure it out. It's been so long since I've taken one of these TVs apart, I almost forget what I need to do to take it apart. I think I got all the screws out of it. Assembled in Mexico. What a surprise. I was thinking this might have been one of the Canadian-made Panasonics, as Panasonic did make a number of their televisions back in the 80s and 90s. They did make a number of them in Canada. But this is one of the Mexican-made ones. I'm just wondering see if I can see where the picture tube was made. But there was a time when they did make a fair bit of televisions. in Canada. Panasonic was big on it, as was Electrohome, which was bought out by Mitsubishi. So there was a time there where there was TVs that were actually assembled in Ontario. And this tube came from Korea. So it certainly is a multinational set. Anyway, here's the circuit board. Throw some little bit of light on here. And it actually doesn't look too bad, considering this has been sitting outside for, I think it's been outside for, I don't know, 4 years, 4 winters, something like that. 2000, I think it was 2010. It was the spring of 2010 that I first put this set in service, so outside. So it's been sitting out there for 4 years. That was the year that I built my patio. Actually, I built my patio in the fall, winter 2009. So it would have been 2010 when we actually sat outside, and I said, "Hey, let's have a TV for, you know, for the times where it don't want to be in the house, but there's a game or something on." So there's the circuit board, and I'm thinking something in the video processing circuit, because something is affecting both the brightness of the picture, the contrast of the picture, and the vertical sync. So on a set like this, if I can get the camera in here, we'll look at down the circuit board here. The circuitry that's of interest is this area here. This is they call the YCJ, the jungle. If you have to ask why they call it the jungle, then you shouldn't be in this business. All the signal processing is done inside this one chip. It handles the IF for the tuner. It handles the video and chroma demodulation. It handles the horizontal and vertical sync separation and sync pulse generation that drives the rest of the set. This other IC that's over here, I believe that's the system controller on this one, the microcontroller. That'd be the microcontroller, and this one is the signal processing. And then if we look over to the right side of the set, the vertical drive is at the back here. Can't see it. There we go. That's the vertical output IC. Vertical drive is in here. Horizontal section is down here. This is the high voltage flyback transformer. This component here, this is the voltage regulator that regulates the incoming voltage. This is a hot chassis, so a set like this, you definitely want to plug this into an isolation transformer, because one side of the AC cord right here is directly connected to the chassis. First things first though, we're going to blow the dust out of it with my Trusky air hose from my last dumpster dive when I found a compressor. Now I have an air blower. Get all the dust blown out of here. One thing you want to get, if you don't have a print of the actual schematic for the set, which I don't, at least I was able to download the actual signal processor IC so that I know what pins on that IC do what. I know where the signal comes out, where the signal goes in, and I know where the signal comes out. That way it makes it easier for when I'm tracing the traces on the circuit board to see which one goes to bypass capacitors, and etc, etc, etc. Makes it a little easier to give me a place to start. So whenever you're working on electronics, always try to at least get the data sheet for some of your main ICs so that it gives you a place to start. So as I'm working on this set, I start to remember some of the problems that I had with Panasonic in the years. There was a symptom that I ran into many years ago that gave a very similar symptom to what I've got here, and it was in the ABL, the automatic brightness limiter circuit. So I checked my notes. Maybe I'll show you my computer that my notes are on. I used to log all of my faults. Whenever I would find something in the field, I would log it in my database. And maybe someday I'll show you this computer. You'll laugh. It's an NEC, and it's a 486SX color laptop. And I paid an absolute fortune for this thing back when I bought the thing in about 1993, I believe. It was the first laptop computer that I ever owned. And the reason I bought the thing was when I was working at this shop that I was at, I didn't know if I was going to stay there forever, and I certainly did not want to leave my personal information, my database of tips for myself, my notes. I didn't want to leave my notes at a shop, on a shop computer that would then be used by the shop for whoever would replace me. So I brought my own computer in and I kept all my notes on my computer. I just went and checked my database because I recall seeing this, and not for this particular model, but for other models of Panasonic. And it said to check R554 and R555, which is in the ABL circuit. So R555 is supposed to be 120K. Well, I'm measuring 110K, so I think we're probably okay. R554 is supposed to be 100K. Yeah, I'm getting some voltage across there, even though this set's been turned off for a long time. I'm seeing some voltage across this resistor. So I'm thinking that this resistor has probably gone open. So I'm going to warm up my soldering iron and we're going to remove this thing and check it out of the circuit. But I think that our problem is going to be a little resistor here in the ABL circuit. And it comes off of, I think it's pin 11 or 10 of the flyback. What did I say? I wrote it down here. Pin 11, here we go. Yes, it's off of pin 11 of the flyback transformer. And it just provides a pulse into the ABL circuit, the automatic brightness limiter. And I think that's my problem with this set. Just looking at the symptom on the screen, how when the picture's got a bright scene to it, the vertical starts to get instability, and it varies with the brightness. So if the scene is dim, the picture is fine. But if you get a really bright background, like a sky or something in the background, the picture starts to jump all over the place. And just from that symptom, it's telling me it's probably not in the video circuit, but it's in the brightness limiter circuit. So I'm going to warm up the soldering iron here. We're going to pull that resistor out and see if it fixes this old classic. So we got the soldering iron hot now, and we're going to remove 554. R554 is right here. So we get the good old solder wick in here to remove the solder. My solder wick is getting pretty old because I haven't used it in a while. The problem with this stuff when it gets old is it oxidizes, and then it doesn't want to work as well. But the stuff is really quite expensive, so I don't necessarily want to buy any more of it because I don't do enough service work to kind of justify it. But let's just pop this resistor out now. And this is it right here. And we'll measure it. And it's measuring like 10 megs. And a little high. A little bit high for for what it's supposed to. I don't know if you can see the meter there or not. I'll prop this thing up so you can see it. But color code on this thing is brown. Looks like brown gray. It's hard to tell. Brown slate. Yellow. So that would be what, about 190K? 180K. I forget my color codes, guys. It's been so long. I work in the telephone industry now. We use color codes for our pair colors, but our color codes are totally different than what it was for resistors. But as you can see, it's 10 megs, and the fourth color is 4, so there's going to be 4 zeros. So what, 180K, I guess? Yeah, this resistor is shot. Oh, it's actually measuring open. That was my skin resistance. You can see that. My skin is kind of relatively low resistance today. It's hot out and I've been sweating. So yeah, my skin resistance is a little low. This resistor is foobar. So I go to my resistor cabinet and we'll find another one. And we'll replace it. Okay, we got a new resistor here. It's not quite the same value as the other one's a little lower. This would be like about 160K, I think. And that is probably going to be okay, because it's just in the ABL circuit. So we'll thread this thing in through the holes on the circuit board here. You think this is bad? You should try working on fiber optics. Yeah, okay, that's another story. That's what I have to do on my day job is work on fiber optics, and yeah, it gets kind of tedious there. That's for sure. Okay, we'll just solder this resistor in, and then we'll fire the setup. And I think we'll be back in business. There we go. Resistors soldered in. Okay, we'll just turn the set back over and we'll power it up. We'll see what happens. Turn my variac back on. I don't have a speaker or anything hooked up yet. I just have the TV hooked up to a... Oh yes. Yes. It is nice and clear. Wow. Should I show you the picture? You're all dying to see this work, aren't you? Wow, look at that. Beauty, huh? Adjust the focus. Yeah, I know, I over-biased it. So we'll just adjust the bias on the CRT. I think probably everything's cranked up because it was getting dark. So everything was cranked up on it to try and make it look a little more normal. Problem solved. Looks like $1 million. Let's get it back together. Slide the chassis all the way back. That way we can turn this beast on and make sure that it works. Yes, it appears to work. we have sound.
Texting right now.
So we don't want sound on this thing because we all know how YouTube is on that. I'm just going to set all the controls down to the middle. That way I can kind of set up the bias and the black level and the focus. Looks great, this TV. You know, I mean, really, it does. It really looks good for a TV that's as old as this thing is. So brightness control. Okay. Back to menu here. We'll just run the picture up because everybody likes a picture with lots of contrast in it. Look at that. Looks like $1 million. So what we're watching here is, this is just, I've got an off-air antenna. Now obviously this is an analog TV, so it's not going to pick up digital signals. So I've got, in my media closet, I've got separate converter boxes, one tuned to each of the local channels, and it feeds through my house cable system so that I can get the local channels. That signal's a little weak in here. It's actually crystal clear off the antenna. But I've got channel 62 is CBC, channel 64 is global, channel 66 is, I believe it's CTV, and channel 68 is city. That's the channels I can get here in the Vancouver region. Then I got channel 4, which is coming off my media player, and channel 5 is coming off of an in-house cable box channel that's fed out on my modulator. Same with channel 7, and channel 9 I've got my security cameras. Channel 11 is another feed off of one. Each of my cable boxes in the house, in addition to feeding the TV that they're on, I also have them fed on a channel throughout the house. So for example, I can watch different programs on TVs that do not have a box on them. And then channel 15, well, as I said before, that's my kid's Gecko. He likes to watch it from his room because the thing only comes out at night. So during the day the thing hides. So at night the thing comes out and he can watch it. And channel 49 and channel 60, these are again in-house. This is off a DVD player. And then we're back to the off-air channel. So that's my little in-house home cable system. I'm going to put this TV back together and put it back out on my patio. And before I close off the video, I was thinking maybe I will show you this ancient old laptop that I looked up the information on, because I remember having this fault, not on a set like this, not on this size of set, but on other Panasonics. I remember seeing this fault probably 15 years ago. And I knew it was an ABL circuit, and sure enough, I go into my tips database where I stored information, and there it was, check R554 for open. And there was the problem. R554 was open. So this, folks, is my old ancient Versa S33 laptop. I forget how much this thing cost, but it was a lot of money back in the day. This was probably a couple $1,000s. Yeah, I know, you're laughing, right? But that's what laptop computers cost back in the day. This thing has a 486 SX processor in it, right? And it has, I think it has 8 megabytes of RAM. And of course the system configuration is kind of foobarred because the battery is dead. So anytime I want to turn this thing on, I actually have to run the system configuration utility. At least on this laptop it tells you how to do it. Control-Alt-S. Oh yeah, look, no hard drive, but if I go and load the default parameters, we will see that it has a 249 megabyte hard drive. Okay, and this was big. This was as big as you could get when this computer was new. This was all you could get in a laptop. This was a big hard drive. A lot of them had 100 megs in them. I remember my first PC. Oh man, I thought I was on cloud 9. I had a whopping 5 megabyte hard drive, and then my second computer had a 20 megabyte hard drive, and I was doing the happy dance because I had the biggest badass computer that you can get. That shows how far back I go with computers. So we're gonna load the defaults and we're gonna boot this thing up. And now that it's booting up, this thing runs DOS. For any of you that don't know what DOS is, I think it's running DOS. It might even be running DOS 5 or less. Let's see what it's running here. It's I've got a menu utility on this thing that will actually the quarter-deck memory manager. There's my daughter when she was a baby, and she's 16 now, so that was how long ago I put that picture on. What version of DOS has this thing got on it? Let's find out here. I don't even know what it's going to tell me. Does Ver work? Oh, MS-DOS 6.2. Yeah, you had to know all your commands back then, because this is how all computers worked. And I have my little menu program here, and I had a few different things. Ham radio logging program. Oh, Windows 3.1. Maybe we'll launch Windows 3.1 for a laugh here in a minute. But there was free tips I could get off the internet. I got this database that I set up, and it's called Service Tips. And anyway, this is what I looked through this search. It thinks today is January 1st, 1993. So now you know the era of this computer. Panasonic. And we can search for Panasonic. And even got a warranty duration 2 years on all sets sold after February 7th, 1997. That's probably about, well, I think I used this up. I left the TV repair industry in 2003, so nothing's been updated on here since 2003. But if I just search out like CT, which is one of the common model numbers, PC is another. There's not one specifically there's no tip specifically for this particular model, because I've never had it before on this smaller set, but I did have this type of symptom on a larger set. So I have this one here on a CT20G23. Screen brightness fluctuates, and I looked this one here up, and this one here was a suspected screen capacitor, and it's got my name on there, so I know that that's mine. But that's not the one. This is the one I looked at here. Jumping, fluttering picture, maybe intermittent only on some channels. Might be that one, but I think this is the one I looked up here. Dim picture, control bar moves but does not adjust picture. Here we go. Another one of mine. Check for open R54 100K or R55 120K located off pin 11 of flyback transformer. That was the fault that this 14-inch TV had. And the last time I had this was I entered this on July 12, 2002, so just the year before I got out of the repair business. That's when I had that last fault, and it was on a 20-inch. A CT20S11 was the model that I had this fault on. So that was my tip database, and yeah, that's what I looked up. So when I remember the symptom, I remember that I had seen it before. I mean, there's other stuff in here too, but all the ones that I put in. This was a commercial program that was purchased, and it was quite expensive when I bought it. But all the tips that I've added my own, they've all got my name on here, so I know it was mine. So anyway, that's that. We'll get out of here, and just for the hell of things, we'll launch Windows 3.1, just so you can see how ridiculous this is. This is what came with this laptop. And yeah, this is what we used to have to deal with. For all you people that aren't old enough to remember what the old version of Windows looked like, yeah, it was pretty lame, I guess you could say. Control panel, eh? And yeah, this is what we had to open these, these ridiculous, I don't even remember how to use this. I think that's the one to close it. Yeah, oh, gotta close. There we go. Yeah, it was, as I say, this main close. It was ridiculous. Oh, like I got Procom on here. Something tells me I could actually plug a modem into this thing and go on bulletin boards, because back in 1993 there was no internet. Oh, I have internet on here though. I've actually got a dial-up. I see internet. So I would have, oh yes, TCP Connect. I remember this now. And got Merck on here. Eudora Mail. Gee, some of these old newsreader, Netscape. Remember, anybody remember Netscape? But yeah, this was the connection manager. Trumpet, they called it. TCP Trumpet. And there was Trumpet Windsock. And unable to open COM2. Hardware's not available. Yeah, okay. That would be probably because the battery is dead, and I haven't set it up. But or there's no modem plugged in. That might be it. I think the modem for this was a PCM CIA modem, if I'm not mistaken. We'll just shut Windows down. This will end your Windows session. Yes. Makes rude noises. And yeah, that's this old ancient laptop. On the back here, we had the standard ports. You had a COM port, plug an external modem in. I actually still have the modem for this thing, an old US Robotics modem. You plug a parallel printer into this thing, a keyboard, and you can even plug an external monitor. And the floppy disk went there. On the side here, there's a PCM, actually two PCM CIA slots. You could plug an Ethernet card in there or a modem, and I think I even had a modem for this that would plug right into this thing at some point. But again, that's my ancient old laptop. I'm only keeping this thing here just so I can remind myself of how spoiled we've become lately compared to what we used to have to work with. This was state of the art when it was new in 1993. It was the fastest that you could buy. It was an 80486 SX. The DX processor was faster, but it also was like 5 times the price. This was the discount version, and as I say, I don't remember exactly what I paid for this thing, but it was probably north of $1,000 when I bought it. How things have changed. Now you could buy I think probably your iPad or your tablet's got probably 1,000 times the horsepower that this thing has. Your smartphone's got 1,000 times the horsepower of this thing. This is ridiculous, but that's what we used to have to work with. Till next time. Ciao.